Hey, it's Nikki Leonti from Start Your Own Family Daycare, and today I have Kath Horsler from Simple Reflect, and we are going to be talking all things about technology in family daycare. So I'm pretty excited about tonight's chat. Kath, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Um,
Good. Oh, here we go. Cool. Um, how's your week been going? Is it quite cold down there?
it is. Yes, I'm all rugged up. We had the most
See
beautiful day
mine?
today. We had, ooh, we had um, simultaneous story time. So it was just, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Are you?
No, no, I'm
Okay.
good.
Wait on. I'll just put that there. Yeah, so we did simultaneous story time this morning, which was absolutely gorgeous. And the hickory dickory, I'm going to say dock, and I know that's wrong, hickory dickory one that they did, it was so cool. It was really, really cool. I just think it's that yearly thing that we get to participate in. And yeah, it was really, really nice. And it actually goes a little bit towards our theme for today as well, of technology, because that's sort of it's books, but if educators couldn't get to their schemes or couldn't get to a library or something like that, then they had the ability to watch it over a live stream or a YouTube. So we can sort of pop that in there. Yeah, it was really, really fun this morning.
Excellent. That sounds cool. I was just saying before, it's actually not that cold here at the moment.
Ah, okay.
Mm. Yeah, I'm just wearing like a loosely knitted little jacket thingy. It's really not that cold. In the mornings, it gets a bit cold, but yeah, not at the moment.
Oh,
And I'm really fortunate tonight because my husband has taken the kids to Office Works. He needs to go get some things. I'm like, kids, do you want to go with Baba, which is Greek for dad? Like, go with Baba
yeah.
and he's going to buy you a pen. And so they're like,
I
oh,
love it.
yeah, let's do that. So I'm like,
Not.
brilliant. So now you're not going to hear them screaming in the background tonight, which is the first time ever that that's not going to be happening. So anyway,
Oh,
so tonight we're talking about technology, which is a really fun topic. We've wanted to talk about this for a while. We've been chatting
we
about it for like
have.
a month or so.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we have.
yeah, and we really feel like there are some educators who need ideas on how to use technology, need some ideas of how to use it safely. We're going to be talking
Yeah,
about how to use technology as an educator, so in your planning and programming side of things, and then also how to use technology to educate, so with the children. And then finally, we're going to be giving you some ideas to use technology safely. So some really basic precautions that you can be taking so that if you are doing, searches on Google or YouTube or whatever, that there's not going to be anything inappropriate that could pop up randomly while you're on there with the children. So I'm going to go through some of those at the end. We also have I think it's from Code 9, which is a great Facebook page. We've got like a little diagram that I'll share in the comments below once we finish. And it kind of
yeah,
gives you a summary of some safety things that you can do yourself. Um, just on your iPads or computers or whatever technology kind of you are incorporating to make sure that that's safe. And to be honest, if you've got your own children, you're going to want to be doing this as well, especially as they get
absolutely.
older. I mean, my kids aren't at that age yet that they're using iPads, but I know in some schools they are using iPads,
Yeah,
on their own, really quite young, like grade 1 and things like that. So, yeah, we want to go through some safety stuff as well. So we'll do that at the end. But if you have any questions at all, even if you're watching the recording of this, leave them below in the comments or send us a message if you want to as well. And we're going to answer those. And if we don't get time
yeah,
to answer them during our chat tonight, then we will definitely be answering. We'll get onto our onto our computers and answer those for you. So let's get into it. So, Kath, I thought maybe you could start with telling us how you use technology in your planning, programming side of things? Because this is really your thing.
Yeah. No, I love using technology to save me time. And I really think, as we've said before, educators are either one way or the other. They either hate technology and are going, oh, I'm not going there, or they love it and are really embracing it and trying to work out how they can use it to their, to the benefit that it is there. So I think it's a matter of finding out what your main aim for, what your main, like, I mean, I'll just tell you my setup. I've got my iPhone, I use an iPad, I've got my MacBook Air, and I use the iCloud. So everything, it all talks to each other, it all works together, it's all really super quick. Whereas I was talking to an educator a few months ago, and she had her normal desktop, and then she wanted desperately an iPad. And it's okay, yep, how is that all going to work together? What is your main aim? So you actually want to have a think about what your main aim is. Are you going to purchase new technology to program through an app, or are you actually better buying yourself a tablet and doing it all through there? So you want whatever you get to talk to each other. And
Absolutely.
and you want to make sure that that you understand what your main aim is. Is it so that you can take better photos, or is it so that you can email your parents, or is it so that your parents can log in and get and see their child's observations themselves? Like, what is it for communication to your parents? What is the actual main aim that you want to benefit from, increasing or purchasing new technology, or stepping into downloading a new app or something like that? You actually want to understand and be really clear about what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And especially, I really do want people to think about the fact that if things don't talk to each other, so if your laptop isn't syncing with your phone, which is maybe where you take all your photos, or your iPad, or whatever technology pieces you have, it's a pain in the butt because then you're having to kind of use something else. So you could use Dropbox, for example. And so Dropbox, so if you've got like a PC and then an iPad and then, a Samsung phone or something like that, and they're not all connected somehow,
not gelling together.
You could use something like Dropbox, which is a file storage system. Generally, it's free to a certain level. And what it means is that you can add your files into Dropbox, and it's a clouded system, which means that if I put something in Dropbox on my phone, I can then open it in Dropbox on my computer here, or my husband's computer, or any computer. If I just log into my Dropbox account, I could get all of those files. So if you have got different technology brands that maybe don't organically kind of sync together, that's not the end of the world. And definitely ask us for our tips if you're kind of struggling with that. But definitely Dropbox is an option. But I mean, that's honestly why I get everything Apple. I mean, I think it looks pretty. I've gotten really used to using a Mac. But quite simply, everything talks to each other, and it makes my life so much easier.
It does.
Because every photo I take from my phone is turning up on my computer. It's turning up on an iPad. It's really easy. So it saves you time and a bit of a headache. So, but again, there are other options. So I want you to think about what you plan to do with the technology pieces that you're wanting to incorporate. You could just go really basic and just be using your phone. You could do everything on your phone for taking photos, using a programming app. You can do all of those things on a phone. So, yeah, you don't have to actually buy anything else if you don't want to. So it depends on what you want to do. Again, you could do everything on an iPad or any tablet if you wanted to as well. So again, you don't have to have multiple pieces. I just have that because that's how I operate. But yeah, so you don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know also the more steps you have, like the more pieces of technology that you're using, the slower you will be. Like, and for me, the main reason for like really stepping into using my iPad and using technology and what was so that it saved me time, was so that it was all streamlined. And if that's your aim, you want to have as everything streamlined, but you want to have as little steps as possible as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because that is the whole goal. Technology can save you time because you can, well, I mean, I can type a whole lot quicker than I can write, but also you can duplicate things. You can, you don't have to go printing out photos, like everything's there. You can be emailing parents information. All of these things can make your life easier once you have a simple system to kind of do that. And it's just a matter of setting up that system. Like, and it can look like anything you want it to look like. It doesn't have to look like the way I do it or the way that Kath does it.
No.
It can look anyway. So that's like programming is one of those things that when you are doing it digitally, like it's easier for your coordinator because they can see everything as well. It's easier for your parents who, I guess there are still some of families who do want things in paper, like want it to take home. So again, you do need to think about what your families are looking for and what they might prefer. Maybe they don't like using computers. Maybe they don't want to use a computer. So you do need to take that into account.
Just because you change to an iPad or you change to a program or you are using, your phone and you're emailing things to parents, it doesn't mean for, next month you can't mind map or you can't, document on big pieces of paper what the children are doing. Like, just because you go one way doesn't mean you have to stay there as well. If you feel that something you've got programmed or some experience that you've got coming up with the children or some project that you want to do with the children would be better on, big sheets of paper or documented by hand, then absolutely do that. Like, I think some educators feel that if they go down the technology route, they're stuck there. And if they don't like it, well, what happens? Well, mix it up a bit. Make sure you're keeping your programming interesting for you as well as your parents. Now we've got Marilyn. Hi, Marilyn. How are you? And we've got Rachel as well. That's joined us. Hi, guys. Any questions? Pop them in.
Yes. Because now we're going to talk about for me, this is like the fun part of the night, is talking about how we can use it with our children. How do we use technology with to educate? So as part of our program.
Can I start off?
Yeah.
It's the really cool. I want to just start off by telling you about yesterday morning. I had a little girl that is usually very settled, and she came in the morning, and she wasn't her normal little bubbly settled self. And Mummy left, and she said to me, and she was like, "I'm just sad that Mum left." And I was like, "Oh well, we were going to do this, and we're doing the little hammer and the little nail things," and so we had like a project to do in the morning. And I don't want to do that. I won't be able to show Mummy. And I said to her, "Oh, honey, you do this. We'll take some photos and we'll text it to Mummy, and I'm sure that she'll get it and she'll have a smile on her face for the rest of the day." Now, she did that project, and we took photos and we texted it to Mum, and Mum sent her back a happy face. And it just started the day off beautifully. It's simple little things that we use our technology for that can just have children starting off on a beautiful way of the day as well. So I just wanted to say that, because with educators, don't just think about YouTube and iPads and, all things that are negative in light, but that we can use everything that we've got in a really positive way for our children in care.
Yes, and I love that, because especially when you've got, maybe it's a first time parent, or even like they've got siblings. I mean, dropping your child off for the first couple of weeks, it can really break your heart sometimes as a parent. So to be able to communicate with them regularly, to know that their child is okay, to know that their child is having a good time, all of these things, I mean, it's a huge relief to parents to be able to get that through their day, to know, like little photos and things like that, to know that their child is okay and having a good time. That makes them feel better as well. So, and how long does it take? Like a couple of seconds, take a photo, text it to them, and you know that they're going to feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that's a big one, like being able to communicate with parents. I mean, taking photos is a big one. Like that is probably the number one way that I've always used technology for the last 15 years of teaching. I haven't always had the internet in the classrooms and all that kind of stuff, but being able to take photos is a huge one, because photos for me, they tell the story. Like you can see so much in a photo that maybe you don't pick up during the day. And I've spoken about this before, but when you look back at the photos at the end of the day, sometimes you can see patterns in behavior of children. Sometimes you can see patterns of, children, like activities that they're doing, activities that they're avoiding, people, like children that they're connecting with, children that are kind of hanging by themselves a lot. Sometimes you don't notice the stuff in the busyness of the day, but reflecting back on the photos is really important to be able to see those types of things that you might have missed. So using it as a reflection is a really important thing. And also reflection with the children. So my kids love having their photo taken. They love doing projects in the hope that it's going to have a photo taken of it. So, that's helping them as well. They can see their project on a camera or on the iPad or even on the TV screen, like if you wanted to do it like that. And they feel so proud to see their project that, you've put a bit of extra effort to display it, like to be able to show people and for parents to see it when they come in the afternoon. So that's a fun way of using photos. But what was the other? I was going to say before that, there are obviously negative elements of having too much technology in your family daycare environment. Absolutely. So with family daycare as opposed to, primary school, our children are much, much younger, and we've got babies, and there's, reports and things like that coming out that children under 2 shouldn't have any access to technology. We still don't know all of the lengths of, what mobile, what's it called?
The consequences of
on their health and concentration and brain
Wi-Fi
development,
and screen, and all of
that. So I mean, I've always been so mindful of that, and that's why I still don't. I've never incorporated iPads as an activity in itself.
Yes. And I think this is an important step that we need to really talk about, is that, to just watch, I don't know, to say, okay, we're going to have half an hour of cartoon time on the iPad. Why? Why would you do
Mhm.
that with your child? If you are going to think about that, it needs to be an actual specific program or something that relates to what you're programming at the moment. It needs to have a real benefit to that child, and I'll use an example. Last year with our simultaneous story time, we couldn't go to our scheme. So I popped up the iPad on the coffee table, and all of us sat around the iPad and we actually watched our simultaneous story time for that. And it was programmed and planned. It had a specific outcome. I had a specific experience to do after that. It had a reason. And I
Yeah.
think when we're thinking about why we're going to use our iPads or what we're going to do with the children with iPads, it needs a reason. It needs to be programmed and it needs to be planned around what benefit it'll have to our children, not just downtime. Because downtime, to me, children of the ages that we're talking about would be better with books or quiet time
Yeah.
or colouring. They're really,
Yeah.
downtime for our littlies is not screen time.
No, it's really not. So I want educators to be thinking about that. I want them to really be thinking about how um, they are using technology, because using an iPad to research like a flower that they've found or a bug that they've found, or, things like that is brilliant. Like, I mean, could you imagine when we were kids? Like, we had to look up loads and loads of books, and quite often we never even had the answers, whereas now we can actually give our children the answers in about 30 seconds, so which is really quite amazing, and we really want to harness that in our environment, but using an iPad just because there's an app or a game or something on there, I really don't see, personally, I don't see that as a great use of technology. However, I know there are some children with additional needs that could be really helpful. So there's definitely, there is a place, but I really want them to be thinking about why are you doing that specific activity? Because that's really important. So the other thing is the amount of time you're using technology as well. So short snippets of time to, research a video or, a bug or whatever you wanted to do with that, I think is great. But if we're going more than, say, 10 minutes, that is something that I guess the way I always kind of monitored myself with technology is, if your coordinator turned up, would you be happy to explain what you're doing? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love that.
So if you feel
that's
like
clever.
You wouldn't show them what you're doing right now, then maybe that's not the best thing to be doing. But if they turned up right now and saw what you were doing and you could happily explain it to them, then I think that's fine. So I want you to be you can always kind of use that as a bit of a gauge.
True.
I always thought of that when I was a student teacher, thinking, okay, so what would I be doing here? What would I be doing in this situation? If I was being supervised right now, would they be doing this as well? So that could be that could be a way, if you're not sure, if you're kind of new to it, especially, we have a lot of educators where family daycare could be one of their first experiences of looking after children in the early childhood sector. So trying to work out what is okay and, what's not okay, then maybe that could be something as well. So I just want you to, think about that.
So you and I were talking about earlier as well, that we really need to recognize that technology is part of the EYLF. Like, one of the learning outcomes is 5.5, and it's children use information and communication technologies to access information, investigate ideas, and represent their thinking. So it is a part of the EYLF. It's a really important part, a learning outcome that does need to be explored, but can be woven into all of the other experiences and the children's interests as it goes as well. Now, one way that I love to use, and I don't know, I always say it's my technology box, but we have a crate. We have a crate with laptops, with old laptops and old phones. And
cool.
I've got some clocks that are sort of that size and some clocks that are that size. It's got, I think it's got 4 old calculators in it, and the children will lie on the floor and they'll get out all their favorite things, and we will talk about the letters and the numbers and all the symbols and things on the keypads. And to me, they don't even have to work to still stimulate that conversation and the thinking and the role playing and whatnot that comes out of that. It's a really interesting way of introducing technology to children and seeing what they think about it without it actually even working. I think, these days it's really quite easy to get, keypads and little mouse and whatnot for the children to use in their creative play.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. Because my kids love to pretend, they pretend working, on the keyboards.
Yeah, they do. They really love that role play. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
We do have to be careful, but in some of the old phones, and especially some of the clocks as well, they have the tiny little button batteries. So be really safety aware. If you are going to use something old that someone's donated to you, just have a really good flick and pull it apart and whatnot as best you can to check that there's, it's safe to use.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we finish up tonight is a couple of tips about setting up a device safely for kids.
Yes.
Now, this is where I was talking about before is this was from code 9 or code 7, but I'll share it again in the comments below. So there are kind of some guidelines really, because YouTube, if you think about YouTube, anyone can create anything and put it on YouTube. Literally anything. It can be really disturbing. It could be, the most random things. So I want you to remember that those types of things can come up. The second thing is that on YouTube, people can advertise. They pay to advertise on YouTube, and those ads can come up along the bottom. They can come up as videos at the start of the video. They can come up on the side. And again, people can advertise anything. So you need to be mindful and be watching everything that's on YouTube when you're searching for something with the children, because anything can literally pop up. Now, in YouTube, you can change the settings, and there's a strict setting, which like a strict filtering setting. So I'll share the image below in the comments, and that will show you exactly what buttons you need to press to make sure you get that strict filtering setting, so that it doesn't eliminate. It's not going to eliminate everything. Things can still get through the cracks. And also it's really going to filter out language, a lot of things like that, but it still may not filter out things that may be of a disturbing context that the filter might. So you need to make sure that you're always monitoring what they're looking at on YouTube. The second thing is Safari or other browsers that you might use for searching things, or for viewing different websites and stuff like that. Again, you can create a restricted kind of filter on that one as well. You can disallow uploading or deleting apps on your iPad. So if the kids are on the iPad, maybe they're looking at something or other, they could easily delete your apps, or they could start downloading something, which can cost you money. There's all sorts of stuff like that. So again, there's a restriction there that you could set up. If you are doing an app, if there's an activity on an app that you are allowing for the children, again, you can stop in-app purchases, which really just means, to kind of break that down, is that they can, during the game, there will be prompts for children to purchase an upgrade or purchase more whatevers, and you can block that from happening so that they can't actually go and purchase that. And iTunes also has some safety options for parents. So there are quite a few different things that you can start to do. And even if you have done these things, or if you haven't, it really opens up your mind to the possibilities of what a child can access when you give them an iPad. So
we have with our Wi-Fi, we have settings, restricted settings that we've been able to put in for our lock, and that is via the Wi-Fi, which I really liked as well. So that sort of gives, we've locked down his iPad, but then also doubled that up with the Wi-Fi, and that sort of I don't know, I really liked that. It gave me a sense of a little bit of security, I suppose, that if we did work, he's savvy on that thing, like he really is. And if he enables or, is able to unlock it in any way, we've still got that extra setting on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And that's what we have to be mindful of as well, is that especially if you have before, after school care children, vacation care children who are that little bit older, they are very, very savvy about what's happening. And you could have some children that come into care who really don't care for your rules and may try and change things. So you need to be on top of that, or just don't have that as an option. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to be really mindful of that.
You do. You really do. I had four of my schoolies over the Christmas break that came in with their iPads, and that was their first thing. What's the Wi-Fi password? So, okay, we have some rules with this. But it's just interesting to see that that's what their expectation is. That's the first thing they do.
Yeah. So I think you need to be aware of that. Even, some 4-year-olds, can be unlocking phones and finding apps, making calls, if they get your phone. So you still need to be aware of that. It's just an extra layer of things that we need to be thinking about. But I really hope that everyone has got a little bit out of tonight's chat. I'm going to pop that image again for the safety precautions. I'll pop that in the comments below. Now, as we mentioned before, if you do have any questions, or if you think of something later on, pop them in the comments below, and we'll definitely answer those and send you information on how you can find out more. If you're trying to work out how to lock something up, then let us know, or you can send us a message. But thank you so much, Kath, for joining me tonight. It's been fun. It's been a little while, hasn't it?
It has. I'm glad we went to doing this. It's
nice. This is good fun.
Chat.
We just wanted to, have this opportunity to chat with you and go through some topics that people are interested in. And we're going to aim to kind of meet every month and have a different topic. Yeah. If there's a topic that you really want us to chat about, just let us know. You can message us or leave a comment. And we'll be back again next month, which is so weird because next month is June.
Yes.
Next week is June. What am I saying? Yeah. This is just insane. This year is really flying by. My husband and Luca, our eldest, is going back. They're going back to the UK next month, which is crazy. Ooh. So they're going to be gone for nearly a month. So yeah, I'm going to really miss them. But that's happening in June, and I remember booking their tickets, thinking, "Oh, this is ages away." Now it's in a couple of weeks. So yes, and
thank you, Marilyn.
Just said thank you. I will put that up. And thanks for joining us, everyone who's been watching, and everyone who's commented tonight as well. So thank you, and I hope you all have an amazing night and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.